Welcome, everyone. For you of those that don't know me, my name's Jeff, aka Mad Hatter Organics, and this is the Growers Exchange podcast. I wanted to start this podcast to get more information out there about different growers, breeders, and industry companies. So stick with us as we exchange all types of grower knowledge. First off, I'd like to thank our sponsors, Autopot USA, for the best plant-driven automated watering system out there. Use discount code MADHATTER10 on autopot-usa.com for 10% off your entire order. Now, let's get started with the conversation. Welcome, everybody, to the 11th episode of the Growers Exchange podcast. Again, I have another awesome guest, the man famously known for neurotoxin, supreme leader, and his peanut butter crosses. Welcome to the stage, Mr. Joint Custody. How's it going, my friend?
Good. How are you, man?
Good, good.
Thanks for
Yeah, no worries. I appreciate you jumping on kind of last minute. Kind of had things planned in the background for a while now, but yeah, finally worked out.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. So, for people that don't know you, give us a little spiel about who you are and, uh, you know, how you're famously known for your crosses.
You guys, my name's Joint. I'm known for being a medicinal plant breeder, and some of the strains that I'm known for is cushion orange juice, neurotoxin, Joint's blueberry, and my supreme leader, and countless other strains. And I've been breeding for almost 12 years now and growing for over 15 years.
Cool.
Yeah.
Um, so I guess how did you want to start in the breeding game? Why did you feel the need to start chucking pollen?
So when I first started growing, it was incredibly difficult to get my hands on beans, and the only way you could get them is if you found them in a sack back then, or you had to order them overseas, and you were taking a huge risk ordering them overseas. Most of the time they didn't show up, so your money would just be gone, or it would get taken by customs, and then you would get like a letter in the mail saying they took your ship stuff from you. And so yeah, that's why I got into it. And I also just I was really interested in growing and learning more. And I think at some point most growers want to create their own strains, and yeah, that's just how I got into it. Couldn't get my hands on any seeds and was tired of growing crappy plants and wanted to make better plants, better strains.
Yeah, yeah, it's understandable. I mean, a few years back,
Yeah.
it was definitely a lot harder to get your hands on those beans for sure. So
It's crazy the difference between then and today. It's a
yeah,
crazy difference.
yeah. I mean, they're everywhere, and everyone's doing their pollen chucking, at home breeding. I mean, I admit it. I've done it too. So, uh,
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the neurotoxin you got going. What kind of crosses does that entail?
So the lineage on that is the rare dankness Venom OG crossed to my Cheerios strain, and my Cheerios is Tropicana Cookies F2 crossed with Sunday Biscotti, which was Sunday Driver crossed to Biscotti from Canorado. And it just quickly became one of my top three or top five that I've made of all time. It's some superb medicine.
Yeah,
It like I named it neurotoxin because it just shuts your brain down. It's really dominant in the Venom OG side and is very potent. And yeah, it just shuts your brain down. It's great medicine.
yeah. Um, if I think I've been hearing through the grapevine that there's two different phenos of that. There's a purple pheno, or is that am I thinking about something else? That's Supreme Leader.
Oh, there's a few different. There's like there's an all purple one, and then there's a green one which is more elusive and harder to find in the F2s and BX1 that I've already made, but I have not released that yet. And then there's like a mixture of both, purple and green. My favorite, I think, is the green one, and then my second favorite would be like the purple and green. The purple one's really nice too. It just gives off different terps. It's more like a fruity gas terps, but the green one, the purple and green are just like pure gas and hash.
Nice, nice. Yeah, I
Yeah,
know you. You're so kind to me, and you sent out a whackload of them. So, I mean, I might end up popping those pretty soon. I got a 2x4 waiting for a couple of them. But
nice.
so you got Supreme Leader as well. What kind of crosses are you working with in that one?
So the Supreme Leader was Triangle Kush crossed with Alien OG,
Nice.
and yeah, that was my most recent drop, and I think I dropped like 8 different new strains when I dropped that one. It's a really nice cross too. It's not like the neurotoxin where it's super potent and puts you down. It's like a just like an all day smoke. It's really good medicine though. We pretty much I pretty much sold out of all those almost. Everybody seems to really like them.
Yeah, yeah. With names
Yeah.
like Supreme Leader, you know you're gonna get some pretty
Oh
dank
yeah.
plants for sure.
Do you know how that came about from Captain Autoflower?
Yeah, yeah. I think I remember hearing about that on their podcast. Yeah, he ended up
Yeah.
naming it.
Yeah, I made that one back in like 2016 and I never released it. I just kept like growing them and checking them out and working on them. And I sent him some and he grew them out and he called his pheno that he got the Supreme Leader, and I didn't even have a name for it yet. I don't even think I was planning on releasing them, but at the time, but he came up with the name and I was like, oh, that's perfect. It just stuck, and then it inspired me to dive back into them and finish it. It was like a 6 year process.
Right.
So yeah.
Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of gonna be there with my crosses that I've been working with. It's gonna be a 6 year project. I really want to pop them and work with them, but I've got so many other beans that I want to do as well because I want to keep collecting the pollen and keep doing other crosses at the same time. It's just gonna be
That's
a
always the problem.
yeah,
We always want to just grow more and more different things, but it's good to take your time and really do it right. When I first started, I was just crossing. I didn't really know exactly what I was doing, and I was just crossing whatever to whatever, and I mean, I wasn't really giving any seeds out. They were just for me, but when I did it like that, they didn't always come out very well, and I started going on the forums, and that time it was still, like I was saying, it was still like highly illegal. So, you go on the forums and you try to learn as much as you can back then with the little tidbits of information that was floating around out there. And then, yeah, you got to take your time, do it right. So it's like a night and day difference, just grow them, grow all the seeds that you make sure they test well, and try to do your best to make the best selections possible.
yeah, totally. So maybe let's kind of take it down the whole path of how you can start breeding. Um, how do you like to do it?
So yeah, anything new that I grow, that I'm interested in breeding with, I try to grow as many seeds of those, or as many beans of those as I possibly can. I mean, you most certainly can do it in a small space, not growing that many beans, but it's better to run as many as you can possible, so that you can look through all the different plants and see all the different characteristics and traits that they put out, the good and the bad. The more plants that you run, the better results you're going to have in the end in your selection process. And so I'll run as many plants as I can. Most of the time, it'll be over the course of a couple of years too. I might pop 51 run, 50 another run, or 100 one run, 50. I try to get in as many numbers as possible. And then I'll finally make my selection. And when I make my selection, I'll back it up from clone if it's a good selection. And then once I have it in the clone form, I'll run it back again. And then that's when I do all the stress testing and things like that to it to make sure it can survive and handle, things that like environmental issues, light leaks, whatever. Because a lot of newer growers are growing these things, and even for growers like me, it's still incredibly difficult to keep your environment perfectly dialed in, and you're going to make mistakes along the way, and plants should be able to handle that.
Yeah.
And yeah, there, if it passes everything from clone, um, depending on what I'm doing, I might run it back a third time. But usually, if it's good on the clone that first time, then I'll breed with it. It just depends on like the amount of time and space I have going at the moment. I really would like to run it back a third time again, but sometimes you don't have the space for that. But I'll breed with it, and then I'll still keep running it. So I'm just constantly running it even after I breed with it.
Cool. So when you say you do like 50 to 100 plants, are you just doing them in solo cups, or are you doing them in like 3-gallon pots, or what's your process with that?
I'll use 2-gallon square pots,
Okay.
um, and then I'll back everything up as a cut, right? And once I get to the end harvest, get to smoke everything, that's when I make my final choice. And then whatever sticks around, I just chuck all the rest. Unless sometimes I'll keep a couple just in case, but most of the time I'll just cut out the rest and keep that one cut, run it back, and then when I run more seeds again of the same thing, then I'll pick another selection from that and I'll run it up against that other cut from the previous run. Like, you're constantly just running these cuts against one another until you get to a point where you're like, okay, this is the one. This is the one. It can handle everything. It smokes great, yields great, whatever it is you're looking for.
Mm-hmm.
That's the best way to do it.
Yeah. And are you using synthetics when you do your 2-gallon pots, or are you running organics?
It's organic, still living soil, but I use that. I really am a fan of that blue gold.
Okay.
That's the one that Jeremy from Build a Soil talks about sometimes. It's a organic bottled nutrient.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a liquid pasty compost that's fermented. It's
Yeah.
some really good. I've been really digging on that. It really helps. Because you grow organic, right?
Yep.
Or so you know how if you're not staying on top of your top dressings, sometimes you can fall behind. Well, this you can use in conjunction with your top dressings, and it just keeps the plants on an even keel. You know what I mean?
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, so that stuff's great to use for pheno hunting or just whatever, growing, whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. I've
But
used
yeah,
a product from back in the day when I was before I even started growing. I used General Hydroponics. It's called Go Organics box. It's just like a box of organic bottled nutrients. It had like kelp and fish aminos, a bunch of different stuff. But
kind of like the Fox Farm box that they used to have, or people used to buy years ago,
yeah,
something like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. But it was all organic. I grew hydroponic tomatoes with it, and it worked pretty damn good. It was the best tomatoes I've ever had, actually. So
Nice.
Yeah, but I hear you with the bottled organics. It's pretty easy to, you know, just add into the top of your pots instead of having to keep top dressing every 3 weeks, especially in 2 gallon pots. They're small. They run out of nutrients pretty quick.
Yeah, but I, I still use it in conjunctions with the top dressing too, though. So I still continue to top dress, even if I'm not in 2 gallon pots. I mean, I do it as needed, but I try to use the blue gold the least amount I can, even though it is like really, really good organic stuff. But it's got, I think it's got bat guano in there, and I'm not a fan of the guanos, but it's good stuff. You can just use that alone if you wanted to, but I think it works best in conjunction with your living soil and the top dressings and compost and all that. I'm getting, since I started using that, I'm getting the best results I've ever seen in all these years.
Yeah, yeah, your plants look fabulous on the Instagram page there.
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So now that you've kind of made your selection, where do you have like a dedicated tent? Are you an open pollination? Are you selective? Do you just do a couple branches at a time kind of thing to get say your F1s out of them?
So I do a mixture of a few different things. I do have dedicated tents or even a room sometimes. Sometimes I'll pollinate a couple of branches. Sometimes I'll do the whole thing. Kind of just depends on what I'm doing. A lot of times what I like to do is after I make my selection, um, during that same run, if I know that's the one I'm going to use, maybe I'll pollinate a branch or two, right? And then when I said I still need to run the cutback, I'll run the seeds and the cutback at the same time, right? So I know, okay, I'm running these seeds back. I can make sure they're good of the strain that I'm planning on making with it while I'm running the cut at the same time to make sure that's good. So it kind of saves me a little time. I know not everybody has a space to do that, but um, so yeah, I'll run the seeds back, I'll run the cut back at the same time, and if they both do well, then I'll just make more seeds of the same thing again, and then that kind of saves me a little time. You could do it at the same time.
Yeah, so you're kind of doing a selective breeding or a selective pollination and then a full pollination at the end once you know that
Yeah,
everything's working out good.
I normally don't like to open pollinate. Uh, Not really any reason for it. I like to be make sure that everything is on point and I know what pollen's going where and what string. You know what I mean.
Yeah,
So it's open pollination. Sometimes you can get pollen on your clothes. You could track that into another area. You can confuse yourself with things, or you can't be 100% sure of what you're making. Sometimes I've had that happen to me in the beginning numerous times.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
I collect all the pollen with you can use your I saw you using your trim bin recently for all that keef. You can use that to collect pollen too. That screen
Yeah,
works really great to filling out to filter out all the pollen or all the plant matter. And yeah, and then I just store it in the fridge or the freezer depending on the amount of time I need to store it. And then
yeah,
I'll go back and use it with a paintbrush and paint all the pistils on everything I plan to breed with.
nice. Yeah, similar
But
to similar to how I do it as well. Uh, I actually take parchment paper, like a wax, you know, baking paper kind of thing. I'll put it on the bottom of the bin, and then I'll put the top bin on top of it, and then I'll shake the plants over it. They'll drop all the pollen down through that screen, and then you just pick
uh,
up your parchment paper and you just put it right into a little vial or whatever.
yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah, works awesome.
I don't have a trim bin, but I bought one of those micron screens that people use for like shirt making.
Oh yeah,
Like they make graphic shirts with it. Kind of like the ones Mr. Canucks uses. They have the silver frame when he's trimming those big ones.
yeah,
They're mine is smaller than that, and then I use a Pyrex glass dish. Then I just shake the pollen out under that and let it dry.
yeah.
Sometimes I'll use parchment paper too. But
Cool.
yeah,
Yeah. So, um, I mean, even just pollinating a branch or two you can get a few hundred seeds out of it. I know I did one to a freak show of mine, and I ended up getting like 450 seeds out of it. So yeah, that
Yeah,
was just three branches.
yeah. And depending on how big the plants are, you can get hundreds,
Yeah,
sometimes 1,000. You know,
yeah,
so that's a good way for people to do it that are limited on space.
yeah,
If they need medicine and they're growing flower, but they want to backstock the genetics, hit a couple branches or a branch.
yeah.
It's a good way to preserve it.
Yeah, exactly. It's especially when there's genetics out there that are, 10, 15 bucks a bean and
Super expensive.
super
Yeah,
expensive, right? 150 bucks a pack, and you're just like, I only have the money for that one pack, and I keep wanting to grow this fire stuff. So
yeah.
it's worth it just to, be able to keep that male around in a separate tent and pollinate the branch or two. You'll have hundreds more, and you'll be able to save hundreds of dollars.
Exactly.
Yeah,
And going on a tangent, nobody should be charging that much for beans, man. It's
yeah,
absolutely insane. I mean, I can understand if it was like a 2023 high times cup winner, you know what I mean? Then that's a little different, but
yeah,
these people produce hundreds of thousands, if not millions of beans at a time, and they're charging you hundreds of dollars for a cup, 10, 12 beans. It's crazy. I'm not hating, but it's crazy.
yeah. No, I hear you. I'm sure everyone else does too. All right, so you've done your kind of pollination round. You've got your beans extracted out of them. How do you extract your beans out of your buds in the first place? Do you use that? I know there's like wooden boxes that have vacuum cleaners attached to
And
them.
I do everything by hand, dude.
Yeah,
Um, I so a big deal for me when making beans is I let them go until they're fully mature, falling right out of the plant. It's usually 6 to 8 weeks from the day of pollination. I think I told you that too
yeah,
on IG a while back. And then yeah, I just harvest it like normal, and I sit them in like little silver lasagna trays that you get at the grocery store, and I sit them out in my garage for I don't know a week or two until they're dry, and then I just shuck them by hand, all of them.
wow, that's a lot of work.
And yeah, I do actually. I forgot. I do use this sifter thing that I got from Amazon. It's like it was called a soil sifter, right? It's
Okay,
like maybe a foot wide, and it's got these little tiny holes in the bottom, and you could crunch up all your buds and seeds or beans in there, and sift it, and it helps. That helps a lot. But yeah, I mostly just do everything by hand because I want to make sure that every bean that I keep is utmost quality.
yeah, yeah. Because sometimes you get those deformed looking seeds or white ones or
Yeah.
whatever. They're not the best. They probably won't germinate. So
Well, sometimes the white ones aren't always bad, but it's from a consumer standpoint. They want plump, tiger stripe, the best looking bean brown. You just want to make sure that you're giving your customers the best quality
yeah,
possible.
yeah. I know I got the freak show beans that I had when I first germinated them. They were pure white, and I guess that's just how those freak shows are. Did a pollination round with it. Took all the beans out of the buds there, and every single one of them was white. And I was like, "This is weird." So I kind of did some digging, and yeah, sure enough, that's how they are. That's how they're bred. So
Yeah,
just
some plants just produce white seeds like that,
yeah,
or some that look undesirable, but that's just how they produce.
yeah, yeah.
So
So you take it to an F1. So what's the process next? Are you going F2s? Are you staying regs? Are you going feminized?
at this current time, I don't do any feminized beans. I just like the regular beans. I think that every time I've grown femmes, I've always had issues. There some less than others. Mass Medical, he's one of the guys that produces some pretty good femmes. They're not issue free, but they're close to really, almost perfect for femmes. But in my experience, every time I've tried femmes and give them another shot, they're high intersex rate. They're very slow growing in veg, like hardly any vigor at all, and they just always have a lot of issues. They're not as resilient, and they can't handle a lot of stress. I just tend to stay away from them and make regular beans. But yeah,
Okay.
just depends on what I'm doing. Mostly, if I'm really into the line that I'm making and I'm really enjoying it, and everybody else is really enjoying it, and I'll continue to further the lineage. um, yeah, from there, it would be all about the males, male hunting after that. The female's great, but it's all about the males. They hold the secrets to the genetics, man.
Yeah. And why do you think that is?
Um, honestly, I'm not even sure 100%.
They
Like
just have
from a
this.
science standpoint, they're just the males carry over a lot of traits and things that you're gonna see in the offspring that you don't get from the females. I believe that the male has both chromosomes. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken. When the female only holds the one chromosome, right? So when you're using the male, you're getting all that other genetic potential. And the male, to me, the males are the most important part of breeding.
Yeah.
I do runs where it's all males
Hmm.
to find the best one. You find a really, really, really killer male, and you could use it for years and years and make some really killer lines with it,
Nice.
like the
Yeah.
neurotoxin and like some of the lines that I've mentioned in the beginning, the neurotoxin and the cushion OJ and the blueberry and anything else.
Yeah. All right. So you run like an entire line of males. Like you do the same kind of 50 plants kind of thing, and you kind of just pick through them and find the best. What are you looking for in a male?
So yeah, I'll do basically the same thing I did with the females over a certain however period of time it takes. I'll usually for males, I'll try to at least run a minimum of 100 beans. Sometimes I'll do more, just like the females. And what I'm looking for in a male. So I have a whole different outlook on the males than a lot of the community does with breeding. A lot of people are looking for like resinous males full of trichomes and things like that, and I tend to stay away from that. Actually, I 100% stay away from that. I'm looking for the most masculine males, right? So I kind of look at it like I don't know, animals in the wild, right? Are animals that are looking for mates and mating, are they looking for feminine males? No, they're looking for the most masculine males to mate with to further their genetic line. So I'm looking for really thick stalks and branches, a good stout structure depending on the genetics. um it's got to be strong and resilient. You look for a lot of the same things you look for in a male with the female, with just a few different aspects. You do the tried and true stem rubs to try and see what smells are going on there. Um, and yeah, man, just strength and resilience and the most masculine males that I can find. I'm all about with breeding. I'm all about strong plants and resilient plants and the effect and the terps. Those are like my main goals when I'm breeding.
Hmm. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
From masculinity point, it totally makes sense.
Yeah. I learned that actually. I mean, I already subconsciously knew that. That's what I've always been doing. But when I was starting to kind of look into the resinous males and stuff, maybe like 3 4 years ago, my buddy Create Genetics, he was like, nah, dude, don't do that shit. He's like, and he explained that to me just like that. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. That's why I've been doing it this way this whole time, subconsciously without even knowing it, you know? Um, yeah, he was like, stay away from the drag males, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, yeah,
But
totally.
but yeah, whenever I've grown new genetics from people that say they used a resonance male or anything like that, not 100% of the time, but most of the time the intersex rate's always higher. It might not even be in that first generation of beans that they make. It could still be further down the line, you know. So ever sticking to that type of program with my breeding has really decreased the intersex rate percentage, so
Sweet.
that and good testing.
Yeah, yeah. It sounds like you do some pretty vigorous testing. Uh, I've heard that you kind of just do like an open tent kind of thing as well. Like you allow light to leak in to stress test them as well.
Yeah,
Um,
so when I'm running my room testing new beans, I just keep the environment totally screwed up on like intentionally on purpose. Lights bleeding in from everywhere, or sometimes I'll even turn the lights on in the middle of the night, and anything that just can't handle the stressors given just gets cut. I only keep the plants that can handle everything. Um, I think last summer I was posting on my IG when I did my first autopot run with the Supreme Leader and that blueberry orange juice. I just left my tent open at night because in the other half of the room I had plants in veg. So the light was just beaming in on them for like 6 hours at night, which is basically, yeah. So, and then the temperature, it was in the heart of the summer, and I'm in Vegas here. So it was like the tent never got below 105 even at night. And
Jesus.
I think, I don't know if you saw that me growing them, but oh yeah, that was with the YouTube too. Those plants were doing tremendously great all throughout. They were praying all throughout the flowering cycle, all throughout veg, growing really well, and no issues, man. I cut out that one plant though because it was attracting bugs, and it was only on the one plant, so I just got rid of it.
Why do you
It's
think it
another
was
thing.
only on the one plant?
I think sometimes certain terpenes can attract bugs. Typically, if you're getting bugs, it's usually an indication that something's wrong with the plant, or usually something's wrong with the soil. The soil isn't on point and it's creating deficiencies in the plant, but the plant was perfectly healthy. So I think it was a certain terpene that it was producing that the bugs liked.
Mm,
Either way, I just got rid of it.
yeah. Yeah, I've heard Brix levels as well. If your Brix levels are
Yeah,
kind of way
high
too low,
bricks
then
too.
or yeah, I'm not too sure. I'm not really familiar with Brix. So I don't know if it's like on the higher end it tracks bugs or lower end it attracts bugs. But
Pretty sure it's the higher end when it's more sugary
oh, okay.
that attracts them, so they start leaching the stalks and stems like like sap. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Makes sense. Could be
I
high
guess
Brix
I
levels
guess
then.
low. I guess both. Because then a low bricks level could potentially cause a deficiency, which would weaken the plant and then attract bugs. I guess it could be both.
Yeah,
Just depends on the situation.
yeah. I'm just kind of going off of what I've heard from somebody else. I don't know anything about Brix, so
Yeah, I really don't know too much about it. I haven't done too much research into it. Just basic knowledge that probably most people have.
yeah, yeah.
um, but yeah, I don't do bugs, man.
No, I don't think anybody does bugs. I do
Yeah,
beneficial bugs
well,
for
yeah, but
IPM, but I don't do yeah spider
for like
mites and all.
for the last few years, anytime I get bugs, I just chuck them. I just
Yeah,
chuck them. That's it. You're done. Goodbye.
yeah,
Start over.
perfect.
So
So you mentioned autopots. I know you're another autopot grower. Uh,
yeah, now I am for sure, man. I love them.
yeah. They're
They're the shit, dude.
yeah, shameless plug. Use discount code MadHatter10.
Hey, there you go.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
so the autopots, man, they're like a dream come true, man. You get like hydro style vigor and yields while being able to maintain an organic medium and still grow organically like the way I normally would with living soil. It's the best of both worlds. I'm like the yields I'm getting now are they're crazy compared to what I used to get for the size pot and the space. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That last run that I did, well, my not the last one, but that was my first run in autopots. That last grow I did, where I cut the plant out because of the bugs. Those three plants I still yielded just shy of a pound, 15.6 ounces.
jeez, nice,
I've never, three plants in 6 gallon pots. I've never hit, numbers like that, dude.
right.
It's crazy.
Yeah, you said
Usually I usually have to grow in like a 10 gallon or plus size pot to get those types of yields.
yeah, yeah, totally. You said you were growing organically in those as well.
Yep.
Yeah,
I'm just running pure RO through the res. That's it. I don't put anything else in there. And then once every month I top dress, and then once every 2 weeks I'll use the blue gold in a top feeding, top watering.
yeah,
And I remember Captain mentioning he likes to try and keep the tops of his soil wet in the autopods. I don't like to do that. I just water them once every 2 weeks on top with the feed. Um, I think that can attract bugs because it's, you're getting all that moisture from the bottom. And then if you're watering on top too all the time, I think that's why he's getting fungus gnats and people are getting a lot of fungus gnats. I haven't battled fungus gnats in years. I finally figured them out after a decade of fighting them, dude.
tell the
You
secret.
gotta, dude, it's super easy, man. You just gotta let your plants dry out in between waterings.
Yeah,
That is the total secret to it, and it's actually better for your plants to do that anyway.
have that dry
Um,
back period. Yeah,
yeah, it makes them a little more stronger, a little more resilient, can handle more drought and heat. And I wait till they begin to droop. I don't let them look exasperated and super dehydrated, but once they start to droop and I feel the top and it's dry, then I'll go ahead and water again. And that has killed the fungus gnats for me. I
yeah,
haven't had I'm not even seeing one or two flying around, man. Which usually you get that with organic growing no matter what. I'm not seeing any for
yeah.
a couple years now. It's awesome.
Nice. I've noticed that with autopots as well because that moisture level only goes up to a certain point in the pot. That
Yep.
first inch or two of soil doesn't really get moist. If you
Right.
don't have a cover crop or a mulch layer or anything like that, it doesn't really get moist. So yeah, once that first layer, inch or two layer dries out, the
Good
fungus gnat
dynamic.
population just dies off
Got it.
naturally, kind of thing.
Right.
So
Yep. So yeah, that's why I was saying I don't continuously keep the top wet,
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, I
So
like
that
to add that top dressing and a little bit of a compost layer, but I also add a half-inch layer, maybe three-quarter-inch layer of rice hulls on top of a mulch layer, just
that's what
be
I do too.
just to be able to keep that moisture level up a little bit higher.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
do the same thing. And then neem seed meal, man, that stuff's great too. Using it part of your top dressings, that really helps keep them away too, because they do not like neem seed meal.
hmm.
Like how neem really has that crazy smell to it. Bugs hate it. So you implement that into your top dressings, like or in veg, that's when it's most beneficial. You could still use it in flour, but in veg or even globally in your living soil, because that's like a part of like Coots soil recipe is neem seed meal,
Yeah,
and a lot of growers use that. Um, that and the dry back period just eliminates most bugs.
yeah, yeah. Another amendment you can use for a pest deterrent is insect frass. It's got
Yeah,
that really nasty, potent smell that just deters pests.
I
Uh,
saw you just bought a crap load of that, right?
yeah,
A truckload.
yeah.
I saw
I
that on
bought I
Instagram.
bought 6 truckloads.
Holy cow! What are you doing
Yeah.
with all of it?
I'm gonna just start off an amendment company, I guess. Let's start off slow
Let's
and
go.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't pass up the opportunity. It was there and available at a very very cheap price, so I snatched it up. And one of the ladies that I had on the podcast earlier, Roxanne from Trad Worm Industries, um, I reached out to her. I said, "Hey, you want to get in business?" I said, I have 130 tons of frass. She's like, no way. She just got like super stoked about it. She's like, bring it out. We're storing it at my place. We're doing this. I said, okay, all right, let's do it.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. So,
Well, maybe when we're done, I'll buy some from you, man, because I just ran out of frass. So
yeah, I have to get labeling and packaging. I'm getting microbial testing done right now. I'm getting nutrient value testing, kind of application rates, and it's going to be a little bit of a process for the first little while, but it's going to be exciting. I'm going to start off with
that's
the
awesome,
frass
dude.
and kind of collaborate with her worm castings as well. It should be pretty fun.
That's awesome, man. Congrats.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know you had 6 truckloads. I saw the one and I was like, oh, that's crazy. And
Yeah.
now you have six. That's cool, dude.
Yeah, there's 26 skids in each of those trailers, so it's 144 skids at like 1800 or 850 kg a skid. So it's like,
Nice.
yeah, around 130 tons, give or take. It's
That's crazy.
it's a lot. I mean, even
You'll
just that
never,
one truckload was a lot.
yeah, you'll never run out of frass anymore, my
No,
friend.
no, I won't. I don't.
That's a great amendment too. So
Yeah, yeah. It's got lots of chitin. It's got the little NPK value. It's got a small NPK value, but there's soluble nitrogen in it too, so you can use it through veg and a little bit in the flour and whatnot. So,
is it like a 222?
the stuff that I had is a 211. So it's
Oh,
and then
okay.
the nitrogen has 1.1% soluble and 0.9% non-soluble.
Nice.
So it's a slow release and quick release kind of thing. So
That's cool,
plant
man.
available.
Yeah, that's super cool.
Yeah, yeah, it should be interesting. But yeah, this isn't about me. This is about you.
I know. Sorry, tangent there,
No, it's
but
not.
I had to say something about that. That was cool.
Yeah. Uh,
Truckload.
it's gonna be crazy. So autopots, organics, they work together. Some people are kind of iffy about the whole organic things in autopots. It's just gonna rot and go anaerobic. And no, I've been growing with organics. You've been growing with organics. Captain's been doing it. There's probably numerous other people. So it works.
It works very well. Are you running anything through the res, or are you just running regular water?
Every once in a while, I'll put a little bit of a microbial solution in there, like a microbial mass or some labs. Um, but yeah, I don't run anything through the res, just straight water, and it's like
Yeah,
tap water. I filter with Boogie Blue, one of those Boogie Blue filters.
Boogie Brew filters. I have one
Yeah,
of those. Nice. Yeah, I think running just pure water through it's the your best bet. You
yeah,
know, then you don't have to worry about cleaning the lines and or anything turning anaerobic, you know. And then also on the flip side, it helps break down the food in your soil faster so that your medium isn't getting high in ppms and burning the plants. And yeah, I just think running the RO water has been the best to do in the autopots
yeah,
mixed with the top dressing. It's such a killer combo, man. I wish I would have started using autopots years and years ago, man.
yeah,
It makes life so much easier.
yeah. I ended up getting my first kit. Oh, want to say about 2 years ago now, just about 2 years, and I'll never turn back. It's
Yeah.
always growing out of pots. So
Yeah, me too. For flour for sure. Me too.
yeah,
Uh doing like breeding and testing and stuff, I think might be a headache for it.
an
Plus the autopilot
expensive headache.
are expensive. Yeah. Um, plus you kind of lose some room and square footage using those too. You know, I think four XL autopots fits a 4x4 tent perfectly, or a 4x4 space. But I used to do like 9 7 gallon pots, in a four by four
Yeah.
before the autopots, so you kind of lose out on the amount of plants that you can run, which for me is crucial with the breeding, so
Yeah.
we'll breed in them, but I like to like run the cuts back and test them in that too, part of the testing.
Yeah.
Because I think that the autopots really bring out the genetic potential in your plants. Because I mean, a huge limiting factor is water, and since using the autopots, I've learned there's just no way you can hand water your plants as much as they actually need or they're actually drinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so looking back on my grows before the autopots, I realized, dude, I was not watering them as nearly as much as they needed, and that could be the cause of some of the issues I was having without knowing it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially that stretch period of flower,
Yeah,
week 2 to 4 of flower kind of thing. They will go through the 10-gallon res within 2 days, 3 days,
yeah,
depending on how long you've vegged it for, how big your plants are, obviously, depending,
yeah.
strain dependent and stuff. But yeah, they
I
can
think right.
soak up the
I think
water.
right now. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, good.
Right now I have 4 blueberry orange juice cuts in the 4 Autopot XL system that I have, and they're like 6 feet tall. Right, they're huge plants, and they're going through. I don't like to fill the res all the way up. It's like a 12. I use that black trash can looking one instead of the flexi tank,
Yeah,
and I don't like to fill it up all the way. I'm always paranoid that it's gonna fall over or it's gonna leak everywhere, So I only do 5 gallons at a time, and it's sucking. It was sucking during the stretching phase. It was sucking 5 gallons every day.
yeah,
5 gallon. Wake up in the morning, it's empty. Sometimes more. It's crazy. It's crazy how much they drink in those things.
yeah, yeah. It's you would never feed them that or water
No,
them that amount by
no,
hand.
maybe half.
Yeah,
Maybe half that every couple of days.
yeah,
you know? Yeah, it's crazy.
yeah. They're definitely a life changer for the better.
Definitely.
Yeah,
Definitely. Yields alone, dude. The yields, I think I'm getting like 60% higher. I think I'm gonna get more this one too because the last one was my first time growing in them. So I think I've dialed them in a lot better this time. I think
yeah.
I overfed them last time. It's towards the end they started burning.
Mhm.
I thought they were fading early, but they were actually burning because I was feeding them too much. But I got it dialed perfect this time. Everything's been perfect, and I think I'm gonna even get much higher yields than I did last time.
Yeah,
So like, last time I got one was like five. It was like two. It was like 3 5 ounce plants, and one was like 5.5. Because I had the 3 plants. This
nice.
time it'd be cool to get 6 plus. It's looking like it might be that.
Yeah, yeah. I usually average about a pound per harvest out of a 4 pot system.
Yeah.
So
That's crazy.
yeah,
Crazy numbers
right.
for
Uh,
organic.
what kind of soil organic amendments? What's your mixture like? Do you use like a Coots mix kind of thing or?
Kind of a Coots mix, but with my own tweaks with it.
Yeah,
And I think he uses crab meal. I like to use crustacean meal. I mean, it's basically the same thing,
yeah,
and then I like to add the frass, and I still like the neem. The neem is critical, and the kelp, and sometimes I'll even add some of the craft blend from Build a Soil if I'm feeling lazy. The craft blend's nice. But yeah, it's pretty much like a Coots mix, only I don't do 30 30 30. I do 60 30 10. Basically, I do like 60% peat, 30% compost. Or wait a minute. I do, I'm thinking for every 10 gallons of soil I make, I do 6 gallons of peat, 3 gallons of aeration, and then like 1.5 gallons of compost and castings mix. So that's 60/30/10. Yeah, I was right the first time.
Yeah.
And then for amendments, I do like basically the coots. I think it's 4 cups of minerals per cubic foot, and then 2 cups of food. You could use any food you want, really, but it's got to equal out to the 2 cups, and any minerals you want, it's got to equal out to the 4 cups. So it's pretty much what I do.
Okay. It's kind of similar to what I do as well. Use the same kind of coots mix, the 30-30-30 mix. So
Yeah. Oh, and then I forgot. I also add topsoil in there, like a cheap bag of premium topsoil from like Home Depot or
okay.
Lowe's or whatever. Because it's like full of branches and twigs and wood chips and stuff, and it kind of makes the soil less homogenized.
Hmm.
It kind of makes it more like soil that you would find like outside. So
Yeah.
forgot add that in too.
Cool. Beautiful. I think I may have misspoken at the beginning. I'm not too sure. Have you done a peanut butter cross? Can't remember. Did
I've
you?
done a couple, yeah. I've
Yeah.
done a
Okay.
couple. But yeah, that's not like my main stuff.
Yeah.
But it's all good, dude.
Yeah. I think I
I've done
have peanut butter
PB and
and
Cray.
orange. And yeah, yeah, that's it. Yeah, PB and carry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wanted to grow with a peanut butter cross, so I think I might be
Dude,
popping that.
that one's really, really nice, man. I really do enjoy the peanut butter brother. I'm still working with it to this day. Um, my friend Nate with the Bakery Genetics, he back crossed it from Thug Pug, and then he
Mm,
gave me BX3, and we're collaborating together with that. Yeah, I love the peanut butter breath. It's really good.
nice. I actually just picked up some Thug Pug unicorn poop, so
Oh, nice.
maybe I'll do some
That's
crossing with that as well.
Yeah, it's really good. I did that was part of the Supreme Leader lineup too. I crossed the Supreme Leader with unicorn poop and named it
Nice.
mythical poop with Kim Jong Un.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah.
nice. That's awesome.
Um, yeah, the mythical or the unicorn poop's really good too. It's a GMO cross.
Oh
It's
yeah,
good.
yeah,
You'll like it.
yeah. Yeah, I was trying to go after their peanut butter breath, but all sold out. So
Yeah,
oh
it's
well.
like impossible to find. And honestly, if you want some, I think I still have some extra from my from what my buddy gave me. I'll send you some, dude.
Oh,
I think
that's
his is probably better than the original.
and that was Thug Pug as well. Or is that?
Originally Thug Pug, but he BX'd it three
Oh
times.
yeah, that's what you said.
BX3.
Nice. Well, I mean, even better.
Yeah, he likes to preserve a lot of genetics like that. So
Yeah,
he's good. He's good at what he does.
sweet. Awesome. Well, what do you have anything coming up in the future? It's kind of exciting or anything for you?
Yeah, actually, February 10th is gonna be my new and last one of my last drops for a while. It's the another blueberry lineup. It's just a small lineup, 4 main lines that I worked on, and then 2 like freebie gift packs. I haven't the gift packs usually, just so everybody knows, most of the time I have not got to testing those out fully yet. Like I've grown them, just not they haven't gone through my rigorous testing process. So that's why I give them out as gift packs.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's altogether it's gonna be 6 new lines, but 4 that I've that are like the main drops.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of how
Blueberry.
Mephisto does it with their freebies. It's just like an untested line.
Yeah, a lot
Yeah,
of people
cool.
do it like that
Yeah,
to just, help get the new stuff out there and people growing them.
yeah.
Uh, yeah, it's gonna be a blueberry BX2. I was at F4 and I really enjoyed that line. It was really good. It didn't quite come out the way I had hoped, so I went back to the F3 and then BX that. So coming out with the BX2, then I'm coming out with Squid Ink version 2, which is neurotoxin crossed with the blueberry.
Nice.
Yeah, and then blueberry orange juice F2, that's coming. And then the other one was blueberry sour punch, which is blueberry Pebbles Punch crossed to my blueberry Pebbles Punch from Create, which
That's
is
dope.
really good too. Yeah, those are the four main ones. And then the freebies, one of them's blueberry limeade, which is the cactus breath from by Dab for Dads, crossed to the blueberry, and then Star Fuel, which is Star Pupil crossed to neurotoxin from
Nice.
Mass Medical Star Pupil. Yeah.
Nice. I can already hear
So
the people screaming for all that stuff. I know Mac Attack and Rev and Johnny and Kotz. They're all they've all been talking about your blueberry strains, so I'm sure they're gonna be all over that. And I'm
yeah,
glad you said something here so people can know that you're throwing another drop out February 10th.
yep. February 10th, it'll be live on my site. Hopefully early in the morning. It just depends on if I can get to it, how early I can put it up. I've got three kids. Those fools are demanding
Yep.
of attention.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, like I was saying, this is going to be my last drop for a little while. I just I miss growing flower. I mean, I love breeding, but I miss just growing flower and chilling out a little bit.
Yeah.
So I want to take a break and grow some flower for a while and do some more intensive pheno hunting. That's why I'm growing the flowers, just to check more and more seeds and stuff. But Mass Medical sent me his pre 98 Bubba Kush cut, and
Nice.
I've been trying to get my hands on the legit Bubba Kush cut like that for many years. And he sent it to me towards the end of last year.
Nice.
And so yeah, I'm taking a break and I'm just gonna be focused on BXing that into regular seed form.
Yeah. Yeah. Bubba Kush has been a staple of a lot of people's strains throughout the years, and I mean that was just back in 2014, 15 era kind of thing. That was just all you can find out here was Bubba.
Oh,
Nobody had
dude,
anything else.
even early 2000s, like when I was in high school, it was all about the Bubba, man. That's
Yeah.
that's why I love it so much. It's so nostalgic for me, and it's still really great medicine.
Yeah.
And yeah, and like you said, it breeds really well too. I think
Sweet.
it'll breed really well. I have lots of plans for that cut. So that's what I'm going to be focused on. This blueberry drops pretty much the last one. I might in the fall release a few more, like another small neurotoxin lineup that I've been working on. But other than that, I'm just focused on pheno hunting and working on this Bubba Kush BX. So it might take me a few years. I might not put anything out the whole time. Haven't decided really.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you'll get back into it after you get a little bit of stockpile built up. But
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I'll come back to it. I need a little break, and this is basically going to be like a passion project for me. I've been waiting for this cut. You have no idea, man. You have no idea the strides I've taken to get my hands on this, and I've had people giving me Bubba Kush cuts that turned out not to be, the real cut like a dozen times. So I know this one's legit, and I'm excited. So
like it,
I
man.
just want to work on this. Yeah. And
Cool.
I think people will really enjoy it. Like you said, everybody loves Bubba Kush, so to get it in regular seed form and be stable, and I think everyone's gonna really want to grow this.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna take my time, do it right, 3, 4 years, make sure it's perfect before I release it.
Nice. Wicked. Well, good to hear, man. Good to hear.
Yeah,
Uh,
thank you.
so kind of rounding out the episode, where can people find you? I know that you've got your Instagram shut down a couple times.
14 times now,
Holy
literally.
shit.
I'm on the 14th time.
Oh my
Yeah,
god. So I think it's Trichome God 2 or something, or
yeah. Trichome.god.2,
on
and then
Instagram there. Yep.
yeah, on Instagram, and then YouTube is Joint the Trichome God with a dash after joint. and then
Awesome.
Discord is just joint custody beans.
Yeah, beans in quotations. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yep.
We won't list the website off only because YouTube the algorithm will pick it up and not like it. So, but if you can, try to hint to what towards it is, and
Yeah, the link's available on my Instagram
there you
on
go.
the in bio. So if you're looking for it, you can find it there for the website.
Perfect. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. I know it was kind of short notice. We've had a little hiccups throughout the episode. Uh, it is what it is. It was a good episode, and I'm sure lots of people will enjoy it. Uh,
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to your drop in a few weeks. Actually, not even 10 days. So
Yeah. Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on.
yeah,
Glad we got to do it. I know I know we were supposed to do it sooner. My apologies, dude.
no
So
need to apologize. We're all
I
good.
had a good time. Should do it again sometime.
Yep, for sure. Once maybe once you start picking up working your new line, we'll get you back on and we'll chat about it. See
All
where
right,
you're at
man.
with it.
Cool.
Cool.
Sounds good, dude.
All right.
Thank
Well, everyone, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please leave a review on there. Um, if you're on YouTube, don't forget to like, share, comment, do all that jazz. Subscribe. You can see this episode on the Growers Exchange podcast YouTube channel and also over on my Mad Hatter Organics channel. I will slowly start to be bringing him over to that Growers Exchange podcast. So just stay tuned and go over and subscribe. But yeah, until next time, guys, have a good night.
Peace.